Welcome. In this explainer, we're going to dive into some really powerful innovation frameworks for healthcare leaders. We're drawing on insights from the Culture Coalition, all based on the groundbreaking work of Chan Kim and Renee Mauborgne. Seriously, this offers a whole new way to think about improving patient care and, just as importantly, the well-being of your team. So let's start with a question that might hit a little close to home, especially if you're a physician, nurse, or APP leader who's deep in the trenches taking care of complex patients. You know that feeling of getting stretched thin, of constantly fighting for the same small pool of resources? It's a reality for so many of us in healthcare.
Believe it or not, that feeling of constant struggle, it actually has a name in the world of strategy. And, just understanding it is the absolute first step toward finding a way out.
The authors call this environment a red ocean. Just picture it, a market space that's totally saturated with rivals, all fighting over the exact same territory. The metaphor is pretty intense, but it makes the point, right? The competition is so fierce, it turns the water red.
Okay, so what does this business concept actually look like on your unit? Well, in a hospital, the red ocean shows up as intense pressure on metrics, like length of stay. It looks like those chronic staffing issues that lead to terrible burnout, and of course, that constant battle for budget. It all creates this environment where we end up making these tiny, incremental improvements instead of the real breakthroughs in care we all want to see. But here's the big idea. What if the goal wasn't just to compete harder inside all those constraints? What if you could make the competition totally irrelevant? This is where we stop swimming in those crowded red waters and start charting a new course. This chart just lays it out so clearly. It's a fundamental shift in how you think. So instead of just competing where you are, you create a whole new space. Instead of just trying to beat another unit's metrics, you make that comparison pointless. And this last one is so crucial. Instead of accepting that better care has to cost more, you find a way to break that trade-off. Think about that, delivering better patient outcomes and improving your team's well-being, all while becoming more efficient. So the engine that powers this whole shift is something called value innovation. The key phrase here is simultaneous pursuit. This isn't just about adding more services or piling on more work, which just adds more cost. No, it's about being strategic and finding a way to create a huge leap in value for your patients and your team, while also being really smart about the costs. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually do it? How do you find these incredible opportunities for new value when you're on a busy hospital unit? Well, the great thing is the sources give us some incredibly practical tools to work with. This is called the 4 Actions Framework, and it's such a powerful way to systematically challenge that this is how we've always done it mentality. It really forces us to ask 4 simple but pretty profound questions about our daily processes and our biggest priorities. To make this real, just think about examples like Cirque du Soleil. They didn't make a better circus, they created something new by famously eliminating the animal acts. The point is, real innovation isn't just about adding more stuff. It's the strategic mix of all 4 actions. So, what's a long-held practice on your unit that could be eliminated or even just reduced? A documentation requirement? A specific handoff process? These are the kinds of game-changing questions this framework gets you to ask. And this slide really nails another key idea, especially for leaders in big established places like hospitals. You see, innovation doesn't have to be disruptive. It doesn't have to threaten other departments or roles. You can have non-disruptive creation, where you build something totally new without tearing something else down. An approach like that just sidesteps so much resistance and makes change way easier to actually pull off. Now, of course, a brilliant new strategy is completely worthless if your team isn't on board. The Blue Ocean process isn't just a bunch of analytical tools. It is designed to be deeply human-centered, and as a clinical leader, that is everything. And this, right here, gets to the absolute heart of it. If you want to inspire change, you have to build trust first. This process recognizes that your team members, they bring their whole selves to work, their emotions, their fears, their own need for purpose. Real, lasting innovation has to respect and engage with that humanity. So the sources give us 3 core principles for this. First, atomization. You break the big, scary change into small, doable steps. Second is first-hand discovery. You don't just show them a PowerPoint about a problem, you let them see and feel it for themselves. And third, fair process. Engage your people, explain your decisions, and be crystal clear about what's expected. It's about respect.
So after all this work, where are we going? What is the destination? What does a blue ocean actually look and feel like for you and your clinical team? It's a total transformation. I mean, instead of just running around fighting fires all day, you start solving the deep-seated problems that cause the fires in the first place. This means creating new, streamlined patient pathways that deliver incredible value. And when you do that, you unlock new capacity in your team. And that is the key to finally reducing burnout and boosting morale for everyone. So that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Think about that one persistent, frustrating, unsolvable problem on your unit. You know the one. That very challenge, it might just be your single greatest opportunity to create something entirely new.